All right. So excited to be on the Leading Virtuously podcast today. We've got an awesome guest, and I'm excited to be able to dive in. So without further ado, I wanted to introduce you, Laticia Nicole. Thank you for joining us on the podcast, Laticia.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. So the first question that we always have out of the gun is, who are you, Laticia?
All right. Well, I am the CEO founder of a nonprofit organization called Purpose Professionals, where we're feeding the elderly and we're also clothing and giving them toiletries all over the world. And I'm also the CEO founder of a for-profit, which is Laticia Nicole Enterprise, LLC, where I'm helping women and girls conquer their fears so they can be all that they were called to be. And I do that by speaking, by preaching, and by teaching. I am also a coach, and I am also a wife. I'm a mother. I am a philanthropist. I am an author, but I'm always a work in progress. And I'm so nice to meet you.
Oh, I love all of that. That's so good, so good. As we joked before when we had connected previously, I told you I have no idea how you find time to sleep. So thank you for being on the podcast and sharing a little bit more about your life, etc. So can you tell me a little bit how you got to the leadership position that you are in today, and try to get that done in 3 minutes or less?
Absolutely. Well, being that I'm a registered nurse and I'm also a nursing home administrator, I have been in leadership positions for over 15 years, which allotted me to start my own company in actually consulting and teaching and instructing. So that's how I was able to actually become the leader that I am in nonprofit and for-profit.
Mm. So Laticia, to second or third question here is, as you look back over your career, what do you feel like has characterized the most outstanding performers that have worked for you?
I would say certified nursing assistants. Only because without them, nurses, physicians, therapists can't do anything. They are the foundation. They are the heartbeat. They're the ones that are more with the patients, and they talk to them more. And so I believe that they are the heartbeat and the backbone of the medical industry.
And I would imagine, though, that some of them are outstanding and some of them have a lot of work in progress. So even within that category, though, just curious as to what you think about as you think about that specific function. What has made some of them that really stand out comparative to the rest?
Just the love and the ability to have the capacity to include these people in their daily lives. That's not a job that you would do for money, because let's be truthful, they don't make a lot. And so that has to have some type of love for people. And so that's what I noticed for that position, that stays in that position, that they have truly a love for people. And I'm one to say that I started out as a candy striper, and then a CNA, and then to an LPN, then to a registered nurse, and now to a nursing home administrator. So I definitely know you must love what you do.
I'm hoping that you were going to answer that way, because it transitions into my next question, which is kind of like the meat of the show, right? Which is, tell us a little bit about where virtue and business has intersected for you.
Oh, wow. Virtue and business, where it intersected for me. Well, I'm going to answer that. This year, it actually did a huge intersection for me. I was one that caught COVID, and it changed my whole life. Now it has added products to my whole business. Now I have a product line of vitamins, vitamin C, turmeric, ginger, tea that increase your immunity. It has changed my trajectory. When I thought I was just going to be a healthcare professional, a registered nurse, a business, then going to the business side. Now I'm an actual owner of my own company. So it has definitely changed my trajectory of where I'm going.
Mm. And why is that important to you, Laticia?
Because I'm able to help even more people. I'm able to help more people for not just being a nurse, not just being a nursing home administrator, but I'm able to help people get what they need into their bodies to increase their immunity for what we have going on right now
Mm.
with COVID.
Yeah, no, I'm also kind of curious, I think that you would have to have your head in the sand to not realize the impact of the pandemic has had on business and society as a whole. I've luckily been fortunate to really none of my loved ones have been affected by COVID. But can you tell us a little bit more about kind of like how you found that out and what your experience was with the virus as well?
Absolutely. So on the 23rd of March, I decided to go back to nursing home administration. And by the 30th of March, which is my mother's birthday, I was full blown diagnosed with COVID. My symptoms include loss of sense of taste and smell. I have asthma, a comorbidity, which my lungs were infected. I was shortness of breath. I had horrible headaches. I also had brain fog. I developed rash, and my pulse ox would go all the way down to 80. We know that a normal pulse ox is between 90 to 100. And so I lived in my basement for 2.5 months.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, that sounds pretty rough. So what? Yeah, so then I would imagine that as a nursing home administrator, then obviously that takes you away from, I mean, because that's probably the most, at risk population as well. So how was that hard to be isolated in that way? And how did that work out with your family too?
It was very hard to be isolated from my residents, my employees, and my family. I lost 24 residents in my nursing home, and at the time that I was diagnosed, my mother best friend died the same day that I was diagnosed on her birthday. And
Mm.
so I was staying in my basement. I have two boys, two teenage boys, and my husband here. And my husband was my caregiver. And it was really hard because I didn't want them to catch it. So it was really hard.
Did any of the rest of the family members get it?
Not at all. Praise God.
Yes, that is wonderful for sure. Well, thank you for sharing as well, and thank you as well for the way that you're shifting your own career to be able to help others that are in that same situation as well. Oftentimes, really, I think as you kind of stated about like the your staff that have led with love have been kind of like the people that have stood out to you in your own career, and that's the kind of way same too that I see leading with virtue is just really loving people and making that people-based decision. And for you, that looks like starting your own company that can help, distribute products that are going to help people with the virus as well. So that's wonderful. So I got two more questions for you, Laticia. The first of those is, thinking back, throughout your life, what do you feel like has brought you the most fulfillment?
Oh, actually, what has brought me the most fulfillment is praying for people.
Oh,
For the last 7 years, I've had a prayer line every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7:30 in the morning.
ooh.
And learning the Bible, I started in Genesis, and 7 years later, I'm in Revelations, and just being able to pray and help people get out of dead situations and to look at themselves as being victorious other than being a victim. So that has been very fulfilling for me.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you. And sorry, I might have missed it. How long did you say that you've been doing that for now?
7 years. We just had a 7 year birthday. I've been doing it through a prayer line, a call line. It's been amazing. And it was funny. It's like 7 years ago, you couldn't have told me that I was going to be ordained to be a minister or anything. And because I started studying because I wanted to know more about the word and see how I can make it applicable, seeing that I'm a nurse. I love people. And how could I make it applicable into my everyday life? And now here I am 7 years later. 2 years ago, I was ordained. And it's just been, it's amazing now that I have that foundation, that strong foundation to know the word for myself.
Hmm. Well, thank you. So thank you for sharing that too. So in the prayer line, so many people may not be familiar with that. So is that people? Is there? Can you give us a little bit more information about, like, is there a number of people that join in on that, and then how do you decide like what the list looks like, and do you check off like prayers answers? What does that look like?
Absolutely. So it's a line that I track. I use Uber Conference.
Mm.
And so you actually see it's people from South Carolina, North Carolina, New York, Michigan on the line. And sometimes when it's too many people, if I have to mute them so we can hear. But I love when I'm able to just open the line and it's just open prayers. But when there's teaching, I'm also been able to develop leaders with this line. So on Fridays, we do Praise Report Friday. I have a young lady leading that for me. And on Wednesday, I have another teacher that I helped develop. And on Monday is when I teach. So every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you get a new biblical teaching and you get prayer.
That is wonderful. Well, thank you for doing that as well, and doing your part for building the kingdom as well. Last question, as I promised, how can people get a hold of you or what your organization is doing?
Absolutely. You can reach me at LaticiaNicole.com, and that's LATICIANICOLE. I am Laticia Nicole on Facebook, Laticia Nicole Speak Life on Instagram, and Laticia Nicole Beatty on LinkedIn.
Wonderful. And that's we will definitely add all of those links in too for our audience members. But thank you so much for being on the show. I think we have a lot to unpack here from your career and what you were able to share today. And no, just thank you for being a light in the world, and we'll be continuing to pray and keep the dialogue moving forward too as well, Laticia.
Thank you.
All right, have a great one. Bye bye.